Hi, this is Shambhavi. Welcome to my weekly podcast about spirituality, love, death, devotion, and waking up while living in a messy world. The Satsang with Shambhavi podcast is recorded live each week with students of our nonprofit community, Jaya Kula. For more information and to find out about attending a satsang, visit jayakula.org. Thanks for listening. Much love to you, wherever and however you are.
He posted that quote about Michael Cohen, or maybe it was him talking about his experience with blind loyalty. Mm-hmm. And I just really, I really liked what he said, and just wanted to know a little bit more about like just blindly having an alliance, or is that even alliance?
Mm-hmm. I know that there are spiritual traditions and cultures, particularly political cultures or other kinds of cultures where loyalty is a virtue. Mm-hmm. I have never agreed with that. I mean, I just think loyalty is always blind. I don't even actually get it. What I experience with other people, or students or teachers or whomever, is so way beyond the idea of loyalty. And that we're all, in a sense, if we want to even talk about loyalty, we just have to be loyal to the process of nature, waking up. And if someone's not helping us do that, vamoose, as far as I'm concerned. So, this idea that you would be loyal for the sake of the virtue of loyalty, I don't get that. I think there has to be natural devotion. That's where I feel the actual staying power lies, right? I'm not even quite sure what loyalty is, to tell you the truth. I had a teacher who was very big on loyalty, and I always felt like it was basically, no matter what I do, I just want you to stay with me. Like it was that kind of demand, which I just think is stupid, and it has no place on a path of waking up. When we experience who the teacher really is, natural devotion arises. And it can host many, many things. But the question of loyalty just feels like something so contrived and far down the chain.
Yeah, it seems like it's the ignorant version of devotion.
Possibly that's a good way of thinking of it, yeah.
More limited and sticky and has a lot of blind spots.
Yeah, I can't see where loyalty is ever anything but blind. It seems to be some sort of adherence to something for the sake of adherence, right? But that's not the point. When, at least in a spiritual tradition, we're adhering to something for the sake of waking up, not for the sake of honoring an attachment. What I feel for you all and my teachers is like loyalty doesn't begin to cut it. Does anybody have a different relationship to the idea of loyalty? It's actually a question that mystified me a bit. I never thought about loyalty other than when I watched martial arts movies from Japan. And and then there's always, the archetypal figure of the foot soldier or the foot samurai who's loyal to this absolute creep. Somebody who just does terrible things, but their honor is in their loyalty. And on some very superficial level, I understand what they're talking about. But I've always thought, why? Right? Is that really honor?
I kind of think it goes against some of the precepts. If you're loyal, you're not in freshness of.
Yeah, loyalty is fundamentally stale. It's gonna be there no matter what happens, no matter how circumstances change. I'm being loyal.
To me, loyalty seems to be an extension of power, in the sense that, if you have power and I'm your warrior, one of your soldiers, by the sheer fact that you have power and you allow me to be near you, then you ask for loyalty, and that's an extension of power.
So it's sort of a quid pro quo.
Yeah.
I think that actually makes some sense. Right.
I don't know if I think loyalty is blind. That word has a positive feeling to me, like it feels like devotion, friendship. And I just think about like relationships, and I don't know, the way you're talking about loyalty, it sounds like a forever thing. Like once you decide you're loyal, it's till you die.
Well, my only two models for loyalty, I was not kidding, are martial arts movies and this teacher that I was talking about. And both of them are forever. Like, this teacher wanted forever loyalty. Right. And of course, in the martial arts, they just die in the name of loyalty.
But I think you can be loyal in a partnership with someone, and then if you break up, then the loyalty can break with it. Like, it's just like...
That's American loyalty. Till I decide I don't want to do it anymore.
That contract is over.
Yeah.
While the contract is on.
But what would it look like in everyday life?
That you do right by that person. Like, you are honest and you stand up for them and, you're on their side. I don't know, there's something like...
What if their side is corrupt and rotten?
Then you get out of the contract.
See, that's not the model of loyalty that I have in my mind. Yeah.
What about like loyalty to like your practice, or like loyalty to not a person?
How would that be different from discipline or devotion?
I guess that would be more like that.
I don't know. For me, loyalty has something inherently built in that is like in spite of conditions, right?
Yeah, it makes me think of like in spite of what you might want, like sticking to something.
Yeah, I mean, in the martial arts movies, the foot soldier always ends up lying for the master or stealing for the master or going down the dark road with the master in the name of loyalty. Right? I don't know. I'm just not doing that. Maybe that's how some folks do work out their karma. I don't know.
Shambhavi?
Yeah.
Hi. This was like the critical dynamic in my marriage where my husband was totally loyal, like to a fault, and wasn't immediate at all in our relationship. And to the point where he wasn't even asking himself what he wanted, what was good for him, what he needed, expressing any of it. Because like for him to treat me in the way that he thought was loyal was like the primary measure of the success of the relationship in his head. And it was terrible. And he expected the same from me. And it was just like, felt so stale and not immediate at all. And I'm with you.
Maybe he was a samurai in a former life.
I mean, isn't this definition of loyalty devotion with an internal conflict? Because it comes out the same way. Like someone could be completely devoted to their master. And like in the Mahabharata, right? Yudhishthira wouldn't tell a lie. Krishna told him to lie. He kind of lied. He talked about it being devotion or being challenged. To me, it seems like you could have devotion and follow, but not have internal conflict. Like that's pure devotion. Like unquestioning devotion.
But not stupid. I don't think real devotion is ever stupid. In this context of a spiritual tradition, real devotion is because you see the nature of things. You see what you're being offered. You see the nature of the relationship with the teacher. You see the opportunity. You have to have some clarity to experience real devotion. Otherwise, it's just fawning or something like that, right?
And ultimately, you're devoted to waking up.
Yeah, when Ma says, when you surrender at the feet of the teacher and you see the real nature of the teacher, then you can have full realization. She doesn't mean when you see how your individual teacher's the greatest thing since sliced bread. She means you see the nature of reality in the guise of your teacher. That's right. You're devoted to that. But it includes everything. That's why the teacher is kind of an appliance to help you to see that. And if you can see that in your teacher, you see it in the cushion. You see it in the harmonium. You see it in the curtains. You see it in the murderer. You see it in the saint. You see it everywhere. This is also what Abhinavagupta teaches. If you see the real nature of things in one place, you see it everywhere. There's no such thing as just seeing it in one place and then having to like see it in another place and then another place and rediscover it in each place. Having seen it in one place, you see it everywhere.
I get confused because of the scandal that happened with
Sogyal, or which
one?
one?
Yeah.
Which of the 10?
Right. The one who was violent with his students.
That's Sogyal Rinpoche.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then that guy wrote basically like the view of that tradition, which is, sorry, you signed up with this teacher.
Zangsar Khyentse,
Yeah,
that guy? Yeah.
and actually you can't leave. Like, this is what you signed up for. But then you're always saying, or I feel like, I think you're saying that if your teacher asks you to do something and it is out of alignment with what you feel is right in your core, then you should not do it. But then how do you relax into and just follow if you're always, if you can't just, have confidence in your teacher?
Yeah, I mean, that's a vast question, because the teacher will always and often ask you to do things that are uncomfortable.
And then what? Like
Well, I think here's the problem, which is that a lot of times when people get into traditions like this one, especially if they have some teacher who's an enrobed guy with a title, they all want to be students of that teacher. Let me be your student. And maybe they take Vajrayana vows, or maybe they take initiation, but they are in no way, shape, or form ready. And they just want to have a teacher because they want one, or it's cool, or whatever, but they haven't really examined the teacher, and they aren't really in any way, shape, form ready, and then those teachers just initiate everyone who comes along. So it just becomes a big boondoggle. When you meet a teacher who you think, I like everything in A column, but I don't like everything in B column, that person is your A column only teacher, right? That person is not your guru. That person is an upaya teacher, and you just get whatever you want from that teacher. Stay as long or as little as you want, but don't have a fantasy that you're in a guru-disciple relationship. And I think this is where a lot of Westerners really get into trouble. A real guru-disciple relationship is a rare thing. It's not like, I'm climbing the ladder to discipleship, and I've passed the first 3 levels, and God damn it, I deserve to go all the way. You're basically just setting yourself up for suffering. You just need to be mature and say, I really love some things here. Let me get those things. And then just see what happens. Nothing has to happen. Nobody has to have a guru, right? You can just have teachers and be perfectly fine. So in a sense, it's up to teachers not to fool students, and it's up to students not to fool themselves about this. When you really meet that person who is going to show you your essence nature, all of these considerations just get exploded. Right? It's a completely different ballgame. What Ma taught is, if you take the cart to the train, get off the cart and get on the train. You don't have to disparage the cart because it got you to the train, but get on the train. So she said the best possible situation is you would meet a teacher, you would see things that teacher can teach you, you would learn those things, you would embody those things, you would outgrow that teacher, and you would move on. That's what happened to me with one of my former teachers, right? I mean, he did do things that you could consider to be questionable, but basically I just did all the practices he taught me and I outgrew him. That's basically what happened, right? and I left. That's different, though. I can't leave Ma, right? So an upaya teacher, or even someone who gives you initiation, or even someone who you consider to be your guru for a while, if you can leave that person in the way that I left my former teacher, they are not your Satguru, they're not your root guru. They're just somebody who taught you some stuff. And maybe they were very great, and maybe you felt lots of love and devotion for them. I felt lots of love and devotion for my teacher. And I still feel happy about what he taught me. But I moved on, and it's fine to move on. It's just fine. And I think it's immature spiritually to say otherwise. The reasons why people take like Vajrayana initiations when they're not really ready for them is, a confluence of mistakes. And Dzongtsar Khenche Rinpoche might be right about that circumstance of taking Vajrayana initiation in some instances. But he is not looking at the real situation of those people who took initiation from a teacher who had no business giving that initiation. He hit people in furious rages. He wasn't like Marpa, telling Milarepa to build stone houses and tear them down and lie down on the ground and have his wife walk over him as a bridge over muddy puddles. He wasn't like Milarepa. He wasn't doing it to help students. He was doing it because he was enraged and he was just beating up on people, right? And that kind of teacher isn't a Vajrayana guru as far as I'm concerned. We all get fooled because we have spiritual longing. There's no one there to tell people these things. The teachers don't tell them. And, even if you get involved with crappy teachers who beat people up, then you realize your mistake. And hopefully you get more clarity, and the next time around you'll examine your teacher more closely before you make that kind of commitment, right? These situations where students get involved with crummy teachers have a benefit for sincere seekers, right? Next time you're just not going to be fooled so easily. So at least you got that out of the situation, right?
I think there's some teachers that have done horrible things that also offered great things.
I agree 100%. And I think as sincere seekers of waking up, we should always honor the good things we get from even very, very crappy teachers. Because all of those teachers are made of God. All of those teachers are aspects of the same reality that we're aspects of. And we should always honor everything we've learned or gotten from teachers, even if they turn out to be horrible people in other respects. I agree with you 100%.
I was reading, it just reminded me today, I didn't finish it, but I was reading something that a teacher that I never really followed him, but a little bit. I had written, and then I wanted to reply to the blog. I was in the middle of that, talking to a friend, and I was like, why would you, I thought you don't even like him. Why would you ask him? He did this and that. And I'm like, yeah, he did, but he's brilliant, and this is what I want to ask him now. And my friend was almost like questioning whether I was being, if you want to use the word loyal again, questioning whether I was being loyal to the truth because I would do that. And it just reminded me. That seems like we were talking about loyalty, and then it was really cool. We moved into the whole, like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater stuff.
Yeah. Your job as students who are trying to wake up is to get what you need to do that, right? That's being mature spiritually.
Thinking about loyalty, it kind of seems like a way to shirk responsibility for having your own discernment. Just kind of like making that decision. I'm going to be loyal to this person, and like, that's it.
What about devotion?
Devotion feels more like an ongoing thing. Like loyalty, it seems like you can check out, whereas devotion seems like constantly going back to the well.
And devotion also doesn't seem like a decision. Like loyalty, you just decide, I will do this. And devotion just happens.
You wonder what Michael Cohen meant by loyalty.
Well, it kind of sounds like he felt like he was blind. And that he is remorseful about that.
Loyalty also feels contractual, like in the Mahabharata with Karna, who Duryodhana was kind to him and supported him at one point, and then he's going to be loyal for like ever in exchange for that. So it's like you get something for loyalty, you give something.
I think that's true. There is a barter like aspect to it, some sort of transaction. You get protection from the person you're loyal to, of some sort. It makes good kung fu movies, though. Samurai movies.
It seems also that people attach a sense of self-value to being loyal.
Yeah.
Ooh, good point.
So you want this desire to be loyal because of that. Makes me a better person.
Virtue signaling.
There's also the knight thing.
Okay.
Knight. Right, that involves like, I pledge myself to you.
No.
Even dogs, they say are loyal, but they're devoted.
But the thing, I don't know that much about like knight stories. I don't even know what to call them. But it seems to me like, let's just take Game of Thrones. Brienne of Tarth pledged herself to someone, and that person ended up like raping someone or doing something heinous. I think she would leave.
Yeah. Big time.
Right?
She's pretty earnest.
Loyal.
Yeah, I mean, she still has a thing for, what's his name, Lannister, even after all the shit he's done.
That's true.
But he's getting better. He's improving.
You think?
Yeah, he's on the upswing.